Welcome to a new video, Deep Learning 101 tutorial. In this video, we will talk about CNN. So, CNN is basically a convolutional neural network. It's a feed-forward method used on object detection data, aka images, or videos that have 2D sequence of images. It contains several layers and it's prone to overfitting. CNN is used in computer vision and image classification tasks. Looking at this image, applying on a digit recognizer dataset, we feed this CNN model the digit number 2 as the input. And we have two convolutional layers and two max pooling layers. Then moving to the fully connected layer that we start analyzing the input, adding the weights, and to the output prediction. Typical use cases, which are computer vision, image classification. Next, we have object detection. Object detection is basically an image. If we are classifying an image that has sea, sky, dog on the beach, and we need the CNN model to identify all these objects successfully. Then we have image segmentation, or videos that can be treated as a 2D sequences of images. Then we have synthesis, creating new images or human faces based on text description. And we have also retrieving text from images and image styles transfer that transforms natural images into animation or oil painting using AI. And finally, image super resolution, when we handle contrast, brightness in the image. CNN main components, they are typically 5. We start with the input image. The CNN receives an input image, which is processed to ensure uniformity in size and format. Then we have the convolutional layer. Filters are applied to the input image to extract features like age, shape, color, and gradient orientation. Moving to pooling layers. Typically, we use max pooling, as you can see in this image. This feature maps generated by the convolutional layers are downsampled to reduce dimensionality. And there are other types in pooling layers, such as average pooling or sum pooling. Then we have the fully connected layers. The downsampled feature maps are passed through fully connected layers to produce the final output, such as a classification label. Then we have the output, the CNN output as a prediction, such as the class of the image, or as you can see here, the input image number 2, right? It's also important to identify the mitigating strategies to overfitting, since the CNN is prone to overfitting. So we start by the regularization, L1 and L2. Typically, this method penalizes large weights during training to prevent the model from memorizing samples so it can perform better and generalize well on unseen samples after the model is trained. Then we have the patch normalization. It's another good technique. It's typically used to speed up and stabilize the training process, so the overfitting is reduced at some extent by normalizing the input layer, then adjusting and scaling the activations. Then we have the early stopping. Early stopping, when training a neural network, we often configure early stopping to prevent the model's performance from declining. This decline where validation accuracy drops while loss function increases. Overfitting divergence, which is the opposite of convergence, early stopping acts as a safeguard, halting training when the model stops improving. In short, convergence is good because it's a loss plateaus at a low value. Divergence is bad because validation metrics worsen due to overfitting. Early stopping helps to avoid the divergence, by terminating the training model at the right time. Stop training the model when the model stops improving. Always remember this point. Another good strategy in mitigating is dropout. So basically, dropout consists of randomly dropping some neurons during the training process. And we do that to make sure that the training model learns new features from the input data. We have also pooling layers. Pooling layers reduce the dimensionalities, reduce the overfitting as well. So it's a crucial step. And typically we use max pooling. Then we have data augmentation that artificially increase the size of the training set using replicas of the images. These changes should be as realistic as possible. As you can see in this image, we have the rotation, working or playing with the contrast and brightness. All we do that because to reduce the overfitting in the CNN model. And noise injection. This is our last technique in mitigating overfitting because it's presenting censored noise into the data while training the model to ensure the model generalization and robustness. And we have many types: additive, multiplicative, and salt and pepper noise. Illustration of dataset augmentation showing image A for the original image, B for horizontal inversion, C for scaling, D for translation, E for rotation, F for brightness and contrast change, and finally additive noise and color shift. CNN drawback. So basically CNN are susceptible to problems caused by bias and lack of diversity in the training data. CNN is also prone to overfitting and requires mitigating strategies, as I highlighted in the previous slides. And business use cases, autonomous driving and robotics. Recently, we see the Uber driving class product that has been launched in multiple cities: Los Angeles, San Francisco, Tokyo, Japan. Also, another successful business use case is a medical diagnosis. So CNN has splendid achievements, have scored using deep learning to identify cancerous cells, among other diseases. Another good achievement in retail and e-commerce, when users upload their images to find similar products, enhance images on hotel websites. And finally, in agriculture, as a laser weeder machine. It basically uses computer vision and AI deep learning models to identify weeds and crops in real time and kill the weeds using powerful laser. I have attached this video, beautiful video, in my video description to see more about the agriculture machine. When to avoid CNN? We avoid it with the tabular data and textual data. And instead, for tabular data, we use MLP. And textual data, we use transformers. And I will cover this point in my next video. Useful terms when we talk about CNN. Kernel is a small matrix, usually 3 by 3 or 5 by 5, that slides over an image to detect patterns like edge, texture, and shape. Flattening. It basically means converts the multidimensional images into 1D vector, so the network can process it in fully connected dense layers. Then we have the convergence. Basically, is a neural network becomes overfitted to the training data, showing increasing accuracy on the training data, but degrading accuracy on the testing data. Overfitting occurs during convergence due to deep learning model is complex and didn't include early stopping function. Remember that convergence isn't related to model performance. And convergence refers to the ideal state where loss stabilizes at a minimum, indicating optimal learning. Then we have the overfitting. It's a serious problem when we build the CNN model because it's prone to overfitting. And checkpointing to sustain the defined parameters during the training model to protect the model from restarting the training process all over again and to predict the defined parameters that have scored best performance. And finally, CNN first project with the sample data. I highly recommend to check this blog. It's free. So basically, you will build your first CNN model using Python and Keras on a fashion dataset images. And as you can see in this image, a sample of the raw data. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you find my content useful, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And I see you in the next video. Thank you and bye.